is Jasmine Whitfield, and this is my discussion for the week. The topic being critically examine how your online and offline lives are either similar or different using information from this module in particular. Consider the major factors that contribute to your opinion. What makes a certain aspect of online identity the same or different than offline identity? How is impression management executed by the same or differing mechanisms? Which type of identity is easier to manage and why? The concepts of online and offline identities overlap in many ways, but also show notable differences, particularly in how they are represented and managed. Similarities and differences. Self-representation. Both online and offline identities involve self-representation, where individuals curate their appearances and behaviors based on social context. In both realms, people may highlight different aspects of their personalities and downplay others. For example, I know this one person. She was like basically one of those people who had a different life from her online life and her offline life. Her online life, she would basically degrade others and how they acted in certain situations in certain aspects. But when it came to her offline life, like her in real life, in her real life self, she wouldn't be the same person. Like she would be very timid and shy and very like she would withhold how she felt, basically, like contradicting how she was online versus offline. Get it? 2, anonymity. I never know how to pronounce this word. Anonymity versus authenticity. Online identities can often include a degree of anonymity, allowing individuals to express themselves in ways they might not in person, potentially leading to more freedom, but also misrepresentation. For example, catfishing. In contrast, according to the textbook, offline identities are generally considered more authentic and tied to one's physical appearance, relationships, and community. A great example of that would be the show Catfish. The person would be talking to an individual they're in a relationship with, but they never seen the person on FaceTime, never met with them in person. They would have this online person represented to them, but when they finally seen the person in real life, it would not be the same, and versus they would not be the same person that they represented themselves online to be, basically. Control over information. Online, individuals have the ability to control and edit their self-representation with extreme precision using tools like social media profiles and filters. Offline, self-representation is subject to more spontaneous interactions and less control over the dissemination of information. For example, what others say about you. 4, feedback mechanisms. In offline settings, feedback from others is immediate and can be based on nonverbal cues, while online feedback can be delayed and often comes in the form of likes, comments, or shares, which may affect how individuals perceive their identity. Basically, seeking validation. My best way to put this would basically seeking validation through likes, comments, and shares, basically. People would take the likes that they get on social media and basically try to interpret that into their real life, when in reality it's not always like that. Next, impression management mechanisms. 1, strategy and curation. Strategy and curation. Online individuals can strategically curate their profiles to present an ideal self-image. For example, choosing photos and posts selectively. Like how you would represent yourself in real life, you wouldn't present that person online because you want to basically give off a different vibe, as I would say, than you would in real life, by choosing what you would and would not post and what you want to show to your social media followers. Offline impression management often relies more on immediate interactions and behaviors that can be less controllable. For example, like when you first meet somebody, the impression that you first give off would be more like reasonable to deal with rather than how you versus them meeting you online and them only seeing what you base online, basically. 2, social validation. Online identities tend to rely heavily on social validation through likes and comments, which can reinforce certain aspects of identity. Offline social validation comes from direct interpersonal relationships and social interactions, which can be more complex and nuanced. Um, Communication style. Online communication often allows for more reflection and editing before expressing oneself, whereas offline interactions require real-time responses and often less control over the impression being made. My best way to describe this would be, let's say you're having a conversation with your friends through social media versus in person. You can basically, like, when it comes to online interactions, you can basically um, really reflect on, like, let's just say you have a message type or something. You can basically reflect and and evaluate the message before you send it. But when it comes to in person, you basically react off of what they're giving you. So your response may not be the same versus as it would be in like online. Which types of identities are easier to manage? Online identity. I'm giving the example of each. Online identity. Many find online identities easier to manage due to the ability to curate content, edit posts, and control the narrative they want to communicate. They can carefully select what to share and manage how they are perceived more intentionally. Offline identity. Conversely, managing an online identity can be more challenging due to the unpredictability of face-to-face interactions and the nuances of nonverbal communication. The immediacy of interpersonal connections means that individuals must navigate social dynamics in real time. In conclusion, while both online and offline identities share core concepts related to self-representation and impression management, they diverge significantly in terms of control, anonymity, and social feedback mechanisms. Many people find online identities easier to manage due to the greater ability to curate and edit content, but this can come with its own set of challenges regarding authenticity and interpersonal connections.